All right, what episode is this?
What episode is this? I have no idea.
What week are we in? Week 6. We'll just start it by that. I'll just label them by what week it is.
I'm Devin. That's Percy. You might be able to see. Oh, you cannot see him at all in this, actually.
I zoomed us in a lot.
Okay, sick. I'm Devin. That's Zane. This is Buffet Sports. Where's the camera? It's not over there. I literally, out of habit, looked right there. It's right here.
Right in front of the
I'm Devin. That's Zane. This is Buffet Sports, and you can see Percy a little bit right there. We're doing a Madden franchise. We're in the process of rebuilding
Jets. This is the
Jets.
first season.
First real season. We've taken a little hiatus just to catch back up just get back into the rhythms of life. We've had some travel, had some sickness and such.
A lot of sick. He's been sick, obviously.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
It's me. But we're back in the swing of things. Today we've got some draft stuff. I'm sure we'll talk about. We'll get into some of the rot.
I got some free agency stuff.
March Madness we'll talk a little bit about, and then we're gonna dip our toes into. We're gonna start talking about UFC a little bit.
Hell yeah.
So
shit, I should re-download UFC and then just start pounding some faces in while we talk about it.
Pause. So that's what we're doing. Let's jump in.
Yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like Dom singing.
All right, rebuild. So what we have, we're in week 6 so far. This is the 2026 season.
I guess so.
2026 season. We downloaded this year's rosters. So obviously Quinn Ewers is on our team. Xavier Restrepo is on our team. Cam Scadaboo is on our team as well.
Well, to preface, we downloaded the draft class.
Yes, the draft class. That's what I meant. Sorry. Downloaded the draft class. This is technically year 1 of us actually rebuilding. So those are the guys. Quinn Ewers is starting for us, and then this is the team, obviously. The big changes is Zach Ertz, and then the people that we drafted.
We're going to have a tough time playing with that thing right in the middle.
Yeah, I know, but it needs to be there. But this is the team so far. It's week 6. We're playing the Saints, so we will get into that, and then we will start talking about our topics. From now on until we change it, because I think we've changed it for every single video, now I'm just going to be playing the moments unless he ever wants to jump in. Mm-hmm. And that's how we're going to do this rebuild, because we actually have to get through the rebuild. We haven't done anything, basically. We've drafted. We didn't record the draft, so all we've done on this franchise rebuild is play Madden. That's the only thing that the viewers were able to see. So. Yeah. We're going to just do the moments. We're going to try and get through multiple games in a pod so then we can actually get into actually rebuilding the Jets. All right. First things first, I want to give myself a round of applause for the Stefon Diggs getting signed thing.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, you were probably the only person who's like, yeah, Stefon's not getting signed.
I just thought it was going to be I'm surprised. I'm surprised that he got signed. I'm not surprised by the team. If there was a team that was gonna do it, it was a team in that scenario. Yeah. But yeah, I just really didn't believe. I thought that it was gonna be like a let's wait to see what he's like coming off of that. Because I mean, it was week 8. The guy's not gonna be back probably till week 8. So to me, it was like, why pay him big money now when we can get him middle of the season, get him on a cheap contract, a 1-year deal. But I guess the Patriots are going to be. I don't want to say they're trying to win. Because they're not anywhere near that.
Yeah.
But
it was wide receivers are a high commodity. It's a high need in New England.
Yeah.
That's their number one need. So, and obviously they paid Stefon a crazy amount. I think one thing that everyone agrees with you on is they way overpaid him. Way overpaid for Stefon.
But I guess that's the new Robert Kraft. Everyone is saying he's cheap, and he's come out and spent big money this offseason. A ton of money this offseason. So, I don't know. It's a weird... It kind of says something about Stefon Diggs if he's just the development quarterback guy.
Yeah.
He's just there to help quarterbacks develop. It's kind of funny to me. But...
I mean, it was...
Did you see his press conference when he's talking about his situation?
I heard he was comparing Drake to Josh
Allen. Yeah. Bold. Very bold.
I'm
What? Come here.
Percy. Yeah, I personally like Drake, so I don't think and I've heard other people also compare Drake to Josh Allen. Obviously, the physicals are the main difference there.
I don't see like, are they just saying frame? Because, yeah, it makes sense. But, like,
He's a tall, big guy with a big arm, apparently, is I think, the comparison.
but, like, that's a quarterback.
It's not every quarterback.
Yeah, I guess not in today's world. But, like, for a long time, that was the traditional
Let's call it what it is. It's two white guys.
Yeah.
It's two white guys
like,
who play on the East Coast.
I know, but, like, when you look at it, like, it's kind of exactly what quarterbacks were for the last, like, 50 years. Like, Aaron, Tom, Ben, who else can you throw in that category? Brett Favre.
Andrew Luck.
Like, big white guy that can...
Matt Hasselbeck.
Okay, I don't know if I'd put him in the category of rocket arm.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's what it used to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it's that far of a stretch. Probably the biggest stretch is, like, just athletically.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. I think it's a good move for New England, but they for sure overpaid.
I just think it's a really, again, bold thing to do, especially coming off of this injury. That's the biggest thing for me. It's more so about the injury. I just think, like, that's a giant contract to give to somebody who's coming off of a major injury and he hasn't been all that productive.
Yeah, I would say most people have that same sentiment, but the reason why I was saying that you're crazy that Stefon was, like he for sure was going to get signed no matter what, is because wide receivers are just overvalued in general, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, like, I agree that Stefon probably shouldn't have gotten 4 years, $60 million coming off of an injury, but at the same time, like, the landscape is wide receivers are extremely overvalued, in my opinion.
I just don't get it because you can go get a guy in the draft in the second round.
Yeah, not Stefon Diggs level though.
But we don't. But that's the point. We don't know what level he is.
Yeah,
and
true.
in that point, and like if you acknowledge that you're overpaying, and it's for a reason, the fact that he may not perform up to that level, and then whereas you get a guy that if you know you're not going to win, you get a guy that is cheaper for longer, and could potentially surpass him depending on what he is athletically after.
I know. I don't think they're willing to take a risk. I think that's the reason why.
But what's the risk? It's not like you're going to win the Super Bowl. That's my point.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't like. What's the risk? I just don't get the risk.
I think they need a number one like right now, and they believe that Stefon is going to be able to perform to a number one level.
Yeah, I guess. Back in that division, he's going to have to see Josh twice a year.
Yeah, you will see Josh twice a year.
That's going to suck.
Something.
And he's going to get his freaking face beat in for the entire 4 years that he's there.
Yeah, $60 million is definitely like
it's just wild.
It is a crazy amount.
Yeah, I don't know, which then calls into question what they're going to do in the draft, because
yeah, it changes a lot. What's their position again?
I think they're 3. Let me look. They are 4.
Fourth.
So
it's going to go...
Well, actually, I guess it doesn't change things. It probably, to me, just signals that they're for sure taking Will Campbell, an O-lineman.
Yeah, it's a smart decision. I just fucked it.
Yeah, I think, because, I mean, you look down the list here. Titans
but, I mean, have you heard about Will Campbell? He's got short arms. He can't play in the NFL with that arm length. He's got way too short of arms to do that.
Do you need that as a tackle?
I don't know. Flippin' Mel Kiper. He always talks about the flipping measurements. It's honestly gets a little annoying. He's like, that was the big thing he talked about. He's like, I don't know if Will Campbell could be an elite tackle with his arm length. And he brought up a stat that like there's been no like Hall of Fame tackles with like as short of arms as Will Campbell or like that. Uh-huh. And it's just hilarious because if you never knew his arm length, there would be no like nobody would say that.
That's the draft rot thing that we've talked about. Is just like. We're to that point now where we're getting into just like it's not nonsense. It's valid, but at the same time it is kind of nonsense.
Yeah. Like
the guy's arm length is what you're worried about.
Yeah, he's gonna go top 5, and we're thinking his arm length is the reason why he's not gonna be like an all-pro tackle.
Yeah, like tackles, like offensive linemen, there is to me. With offensive linemen, there's no such thing as like overdraft. Like where an offensive lineman goes is accurate to almost whatever draft you're in. Mm-hmm. Like you can transferably, you could probably put tackles in different draft class or offensive linemen in different draft classes, and that's like they're gonna go in that round.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the most consistent position
Yeah.
in all of football. Okay, so
Going back to the whole Stefon thing being overvalued, I do want to dive into that a little bit more because I was thinking about it today about how overvalued wide receivers are. I mean, there's probably thousands of people on the internet that think it goes QB wide receiver is what you need to win football games,
which is crazy.
But I mean, it's just where we are in this league. And if you actually like dive into it and think about it, like a running back is 10x the amount of like importance that a wide receiver is, in my opinion. Because if you think about it, a wide receiver can only be productive with a quarterback. I mean, they need somebody to throw the ball. When they don't need a quarterback to throw them a ball, they hand it off to them. Same thing as a running back. A running back is the one position where you don't need anything and you can still be productive. You can't be productive as a wide receiver if you don't have a good quarterback. Like in critical moments. Mm-hmm. Third downs, fourth downs, you need a Joe Burrow level guy. And even speaking of Joe Burrow, like Jamar Chase lined up in the backfield this year. So it just shows like how much everyone's sort of like leaning back towards running backs. Mm-hmm. But it's still like we're still giving Stefon this ginormous contract when it's like, yeah, it's needed. It definitely helps a QB, but it's not going to win you games. Like you need an elite quarterback.
The problem is that it's the exact thing that you said where you said that they think they need a number one. It's that exact thing. Mm. It's that like instead of just taking the shot on somebody in the draft and I don't know how much this is Robert Kraft or what's the head coach's name? I can't remember his name for some reason.
Vrabel.
And so I don't know if it's Rabel, I don't know if it's Kraft, I don't know if it's the franchise itself. It's just like we're a winning franchise, but like everyone has to suck for a period of time.
Yeah.
And that like and taking like we need a number one or we're afraid like I have beat this horse so many times, but have we forgotten the success that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have had? Like
we haven't forgotten it, I don't think.
But like they drafted Jamar Chase and then they were like, "Oh, we still suck. Let's go get Joe Burrow." Like, I'm not saying every team needs to go get the number one receiver that a quarterback had in college.
Yeah.
But, like, chemistry matters more than just being a one. Mm-hmm. Like we talked about Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah.
He's Derek Carr's, like, favorite guy. And he's kind of in a little bit of a meme way become an icon.
Yeah.
But there is a level of validity that he was really good for the Raiders. And it was literally just because of his relationship with Derek Carr, like their chemistry of running routes and all those things. And so I think that's taken for granted of just like guys that we see are like, oh, they're really good and they're only good with this guy. And it's like, well, why? Most of the time it's because they were drafted there, they played there for a long time. And so that there's a level of that's just kind of forgotten and we just lose ourselves in the big names. I think.
And I would argue the reason why Stefon kind of fell off was the chemistry with him and Josh.
Right. Well, I mean, originally it was him and Kirk, and then he about that and finally got his way out, and then he had really good chemistry with Josh for like a year, and then he bitched out.
Yeah.
And now you expect him to go into a locker room as a veteran and not be a bitch when Drake doesn't. Yeah. If Drake doesn't have good chemistry with him. It's like, I don't know, to me, it's a liability for two reasons. Both the amount of money you're paying him for the chance that he produces, as well as the chemistry problems. Mm-hmm. I think he's a locker room cancer, too. That was the other thing for me. That I was like, I can see him coming in the middle of the year and kind of just being a mercenary, like how Odell was for the Rams. Yeah. But being being a leader a veteran leader in a locker room that's super young and is not functional to start with, and also has a new like head coach and leader in that aspect, just kind of seems like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, we said that when he went to Houston, and there really wasn't that much to say about him on Houston. He was just good. He was good for them. There wasn't any problems. Obviously, he got hurt. Maybe at the end of the year, he would have. Right.
Well, we don't even have large enough sample size. Like you're going to be on your best behavior, especially because in that scenario, he's trying to get another deal.
Yeah, it was a
1 year. So I get where you're saying for sure, but I think there's a little bit of bias in that he he's going to be on his best behavior.
Yeah.
Because it's potentially his career on the line. So, but at the end of the day, get your bag. I mean, he did what he did enough. He did enough in the year, despite the injury, to be attractive, I guess. I think the other thing that benefited him is the lack of free agency. Oh my gosh, it's get out of me. The lack of depth at wide receiver in this free agency class. It was kind of like, okay, T. Higgins, he got signed, and it was like, all right, what's the next biggest name that we can get? Well, we'll get Max Hollins because he caught a bunch of balls this year. And then I guess Stefon, but he's dead. It doesn't. It's fine.
Yeah,
like that was it. And
it really was. It's such a huge need for New England, and there was nobody left. I guess like Cooper Kupp. You could have went and got Cooper.
Yeah, I wonder why they didn't jump on that earlier. In terms of like a locker room guy, he seems like more of a locker room guy than Stefon.
Isn't Cooper on the Commanders now?
He is on the Seahawks with Sam.
Oh, yeah, he's on the Seahawks now.
With Sam. Which, again, it brings me back to, like, what are they going to do in the draft? Because they're 4, and it kind of leads us down that path because Tennessee, essentially, word is that they're taking Cam.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of like, we're taking Cam, which... I'm fine. Yeah. Out of the 2 quarterbacks that we're going to go in the first round, I would rather have Cam. So
yeah, it appears that it's basically been like it's Cam, and the reason for that everyone pretty much thinks is because the Giants were like, all right, hell yeah,
let's go baby.
The Giants were basically signed Russell because Cam was going, and then allegedly the Browns are going to then I guess take Shador. I guess.
Yeah, kill another QB.
I don't know. To me, that doesn't seem like the vibe. But anyways, that's how that goes. Giants are... So then at 3, who do the Giants take?
Travis, Abdul, probably just one of those 2.
Probably one of those 2. If it were me, obviously I've talked about Abdul. That makes the most sense to me. But...
that it would make their D-line insane. But for whatever reason, I feel like Travis is going to play in New York. I feel like he's going to have a New York jersey on him.
Yeah, I don't know. And so that's why I bring it up is then I wonder if because the Titans decided to go that way and then there's signals that I keep wanting to call them the Cavs, the Browns are going to take Shador. So then the Giants are staring down the barrel of a 50-50 shot that the Patriots are like, well, we kind of need an insurance policy.
Yeah.
If there's a chance we don't get Travis, we need something. And this is the closest thing we can get to a number 1, so we'll just take it for now and just deal with whatever the consequences are.
Yeah.
But I brought this up to you since we're talking about the draft. Cleveland there's a rumor, and apparently it doesn't have any traction. Let's be real.
Okay.
It has no traction except for one guy that apparently is very close to the Cleveland franchise. Is like, this is going to happen. And apparently Dak Prescott to the Browns.
Oh, yeah.
For what was it? It was for basically the Cowboys are going to go up to 2 and trade their like QB room. I think it was like a receiver and Dak, obviously, and try and go get Shador. But then my thing is like the contracts.
Yeah.
Dak is literally the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and they have a guy who
Deshaun Watson.
And Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Like, they just eat up cap space.
Like, their QB room is literally like 50% of their cap space.
Yeah, there'd be over...
like $100 million.
Yeah, over $100 million just on 2 guys.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
I could see the Browns doing it.
Yeah.
Though. That's what's crazy about it. I can see the Browns doing it.
That's the wildest part. So, I don't know. I think with the Browns, too, what's interesting to this is Myles Garrett said something where he's like, oh, yeah, I know who's going to be the quarterback. And part of me wonders... No one's talked about this, but I'm just going to throw it out there because we're in draft route land. What if the Browns go... What if we can find someone to just... What if we can go the Broncos route, where instead of getting a rookie quarterback, we just dump Deshaun Watson, and we go get Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, A-Rod's still on the board. It's rumored that he's going to the Steelers, but he still is technically on the board.
What are we talking about? Oh, yeah, A-Rod. To me, something is weird.
Aaron Rodgers to where?
To the Browns.
To the Browns.
To me, it's just weird that, like, Myles Garrett's so confident in the quarterback situation. Because he's like, I know who the quarterback's going to be. And if he made this whole mysterious, like, cool thing, and it's Deshaun Watson again next year, it's like, okay, so you're just dumb. No, you're not dumb. You just wanted the money. And you wanted to play it up like they were going to do something cool. You just wanted the money, though. Mm-hmm. Understandable.
Yeah, very understandable. We live in a society.
So, but disappointing. So, I just don't... I'm at the point of the year where, like, I think Cam Ward's a lock for 1.
Yeah, I'm reaching that as well.
I think Cam Ward's a lock for 1. As I look at the rest of the draft order, the more and more I look, I think the Giants are going Abdul Carter. I think they've accepted, I think 2 things. They want to win enough to keep their jobs, but they don't want to be too good because I think they're going after next year's class. And I don't know about you, but there's something about a Manning in a Giants uniform.
Yeah, Eli Manning. Of course there's something about it.
I don't know. Something about it. Something about a Manning in a Giants uniform. But I think that's a lock. As I look on the board. So you think,
but I don't know, do you think it's all right and it's fine and they're not going to stress out about having another losing season after the reaction that the owner had this season?
I think if they are competitive, I think as long as they're competitive, I think if they end up with 5 or 6 wins, but they're competitive, then you'll be fine. Because let's be realistic. Let's be very realistic about this. Whether you're the Giants, whether the Giants owner is like, I want you guys to win. You're in a division with the Eagles and the Commanders.
Yeah, that is true.
So, let's be realistic here. That's 4 losses in your division already. So, 4 of your 18 games are 18? 17. 4 of your 17 games are already lost. You already lost them. And then, by the way, also, the Cowboys are also in your division. And they're capable in the regular season.
Yeah.
So, potentially, there's 6 losses of your 17 weeks already. So, I personally look at it and just go, I get where he's coming from. I understand he wants to win. I understand you have a large fan base. But that is 6 losses already. You are 3 away from being under 500 already. And you're probably going to have at least 3 games against other teams that are competent in the NFL. Because you guys have not been competent. Your defense is trash.
Yeah.
So, I understand where he's coming from. But if they win 5 or 6 games and they are just competitive in the games that they lose, if they're competitive in the division even, where a couple games are nail biters, and when you get to the end of the season you look at it and they end 6-11, but you could flip 2 different single possession games, and instead of being 6-11 they're 8-9.
Yeah,
I think they stay.
You think Dayball stays?
Yeah, I think Dayball makes it through as long as they're above. They've got more than 6 wins. They've got more than 5 wins, and there's a couple games that you could look at and go, ball bounces our way a couple times in our favor, and we're either positive or just under 500.
And I mean, if you truly think about it, they have Tyrone Tracy Jr., who was a rookie. He was an incredible rookie running back, and then you have Malik Neighbors, who was an incredible rookie as well. You really just needed a quarterback to be able to utilize those weapons because you already have your receiver. You already have your running back. I guess a tight end.
They need an offensive line.
Yeah, obviously. But are they going to take an O-line piece? What are they going to do
No, I just thought
that?
they would do more in the offseason, but there wasn't a lot of opportunity there. So, I mean, you got Russell Wilson, so he's not exactly good at evading sacks, so it might be just more of the same.
Yeah.
I personally think they're... Yeah, at the end of the day, you're just trying to do enough to keep your job. That's it. You're just trying to do enough to keep your job, nothing more. So, I think for me...
So, is it if you're coming with me on the idea that this is a do-or-die year for them, who do they take in the draft?
I think it's Abdul Carter. That's why I lean that way. That's why I think that's the second lock in the top 5, because that's the impact player. Travis is kind of an embarrassment of riches because you have a Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
So you can never have too many receivers on a rookie deal. I understand that. But I think you're getting more bang for your buck with an Abdul Carter.
And, I mean, it does help Sexy Dexy.
Yes.
That would be an elite D-line.
Well, and we talked about this earlier in the year. When you have an elite defensive line or edge rusher, you turn your C- corners into C+, maybe even B- corners.
Yeah.
Because they have to defend for that half a second less. So I think when you're looking for an impact player that potentially can help you win this year, and especially when you've got a premier edge rusher, there's less of a transition. You either, with edge rushers, you get to the quarter, you get home or you don't.
Yeah.
It's just who you are. You just get home or you don't.
Yeah, and we saw in the Super Bowl, being able to rush with 4 can literally make the Chiefs look like a terrible team, even though they were one of the best this year. Just being able to get pressure with 4 can do that for you.
Yeah, and I think like their needs, according to the NFL.com, are QB, offensive line, linebacker, corner, D-line.
Mm-hmm.
And I know D-line's at the end of that list, but quarterback gets filled.
Yeah.
O-line, you're not going to fix it in a draft, and I think in the first round you're not going to, with the opportunity to draft a generational talent in Abdul Carter, I think at least, then I think I don't think O-line is there. Linebacker, I get it, but you can always get a linebacker in the third. Like,
yeah, that's true.
You can always get a linebacker and a good linebacker at that. So I don't know. And corner, there's no corners that stand out to me enough.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes sense. First round, take a splash, best player available, I think. And Rabel's there, and he's a defensive guy.
Dayball.
Or Dayball, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I was thinking about the next pick. So yeah, I think that's the second lock. The Patriots, I think, they take whoever's left of those two. Fuck. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I think I think that's the third lock is Will Campbell.
Will Campbell.
I think it'll be a surprise if they don't go Will Campbell.
A lot of people have been
least.
saying that Abdul is going to fall. You're predicting it's going to be Travis that falls.
I kind of think so. I think the quarterback hype is there. I think I think the sour taste of his tainted Heisman in people's eyes is starting to show because people are now given a little bit too much time to think about it. And the more you look around at these top teams, like number 1 Tennessee, they don't have a 1, but again, they're taking Cam, so like they're out.
Yeah.
Cleveland has a Jerry Jeudy, which exploded on the scene last year. At 3, the Giants have a Malik Neighbors, and now the Patriots have taken a 1. I just don't see the point in taking a Travis. I think you're better served with an offensive line that you can actually. It's great if you have another receiver, but again, to your point, you got to have an offensive line.
Yeah,
to
you
give
got to
you
have
a
your
chance.
socks to stay. In
Warm.
December, you need your socks.
Yeah. So
Gets a little too chilly and you can't move as well.
So I think that's one that just doesn't make sense. Maybe Jacksonville, and that feels right for Travis. Duval, like they're goons over there, so that just kind of makes sense to me. I'm just like, yeah, okay, he just is a little like weirdo that fits in with their little weirdo squad they've got.
So mean. You just randomly become so mean towards these guys. Yeah, he's a weirdo.
He is. He's a
What's
weirdo.
weird about him?
He's not about ball.
What do you mean? He's only about ball. He just balls. That's all he does.
No, I hate when coming into the NFL you've got relationship drama. Like if you come into the NFL with surrounding you, I hate it. Because you're a walking PR problem. Like coming in.
I'm trying to think of other PR problems.
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter turned out well.
He turned out okay.
I think he went to the right place for him.
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
I think if he goes to one of these like soft sort of programs,
Jacksonville.
if he or like if he went to the Colts, Jalen Carter's done. Like Jalen Carter's like never, like he probably never even like sees the field or something. Like like something terrible is gonna happen if he went to the Colts.
See, and that's why I feel that way about. That's why I kind of feel that way about Jacksonville, because it's just there's no established culture. They just got a new head coach.
Yeah.
If he falls to that squad, Trevor Lawrence is the weakest character #1 pick. Maybe
Has
ever.
Jacksonville ever had a culture? Like when
Blaine
Blake,
Gabbert.
when Blake Bortles was there a culture?
Yeah. I guess. I think that was it probably. And I don't even know if that was a culture. I think he was just. I think the culture was he was kind of a walking PR stunt.
Who?
Blaine Gabbert.
I don't even remember Blaine Gabbert.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong guy. Who's the guy that you said? What's his name?
Blake Bortles?
Blake Bortles. Which one is which? Let me see. Blaine Gabbert. Why do I want to say Blaine Gabbert?
I don't know who that is.
Blaine Gabbert. Oh, Blaine Gabbert was before Blake Bortles. That's right. But yeah, Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles was a walking kind of PR person, head as well.
Blake Bortles was? I did not know that.
Yeah. He wasn't necessarily a PR problem in that, like, he got in trouble. But, I mean, there's the iconic interview with Barstool where he's just, like, talking about whores and smoking cigs.
I do not remember that interview.
What?
I do not remember the Blake Bortles.
I made a bit about it. You must not watch that video.
Oh.
You don't care about me.
The Blake Bortles smoking cigs, banging hookers?
Blake Bortles.
Yeah, I know who Blake Bortles is.
Where he's the Barstool interview when, like, Barstool was, like, nothing. Or not nothing, but, like, small. Let's see. Blake Bortles. Where they ask him, like, and it wasn't a PR thing where it was, like, a necessary problem, but they were like, if you weren't playing football, what would you do? And he's like, I don't know, probably working construction, ripping cigs. And then the girl at the end of the interview is like, or in the middle of the interview, they're like, she's like giving her a house tour, and he's like,
that was Jake Cutler.
no,
That's Blake.
that's Blake.
Blake and Jake, the same person, basically.
Jake, the interview you're thinking about with Jay Cutler is after he retired with that girl who goes, how can we lock you down? And he goes, are you good with kids? That one, that's after he retired.
Be hot.
Yeah. Interview Sigs here. This interview.
First thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Usually just piss.
Okay. What would you do if you weren't playing football?
If I wasn't playing football, working construction, ripping cigs.
See, and it's not it's not a PR thing. Like, nothing in there that he said is, like, bad.
Yeah, that's called a franchise quarterback.
But again, there's not a culture there.
Yeah.
It's just like he's just a guy, Yeah. So I think that's why I'm like I that's the worst place for me with Travis, where it's like there's controversy outside of the football thing that surrounds you entering it, and then you're going to just a place that's like, and it's Miami. Mm-hmm. And so it's like you're going to take, if he's, I don't know if he's still with that. Well, okay, Miami's not that far away.
I mean, you think he's going to be down in Miami?
Brother, yeah.
Bro, he's going to be like, every weekend he's going to be like fishing.
My point is, take him out of the equation. My point with this is, if that girl, I don't know if he's still with that girl, now you're going to put that girl in Miami, and then you're going to let him, and then he's going to be doing the right thing, trying to play football, and then he's got all this with her that's in the media.
I see what you're saying.
With Stephen A. Smith being like, well, if you're going to be a good player in this league, you need to have your shit straight at home. And it's like, Stephen A., you're single. Like, what are you talking about? And there's going to be this massive PR thing just because his off. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be, is he a distraction and all this shit. Right? Yeah. And then already your quarterback, who's supposed to be the leader of the team, has literally had problems that they think he doesn't care about football.
You are painting a Picasso-like picture right now of Jacksonville in a year.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could see that happening. I could see like a video of Travis's girl like at a club
throwing ass at a club.
Yeah, or
and
something
he's
like
playing on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, it's Saturday night and she's throwing ass at a club and he's like, and then it cuts to him in the gym or something. Like, it's just going to be the death of his career. Is it like the worst place for him? No. Like, Trevor's a decent quarterback, and like, could they have a decent team? Maybe. Is the division pretty weak? Yes. But it's just like, I just don't see it working out. Mm-hmm. I just see the death of his career. So I think that's the worst possible place for him to go.
But that's where you're predicting he's going to go?
I think so.
It's funny how we got there from like, everybody thinks Abdul is going to fall because of like his injuries. Mm-hmm. And then we got to Travis Hunter's girlfriend throwing ass in the club.
I think the other lock, it seems, and I don't know if this is just Mel Kiper talking out of his ass or not. Well, he's not ever talking out of his ass, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Vegas's number one need is running back, and every mock draft he puts out and a bunch of other people's mock drafts like have them going Ashton Genty.
Did you see flipping Ashton's pro day? Let me pause this real quick.
No.
Did you see Ashton Genty's pro day?
Was it nuts?
Bro, you should have seen this guy. I swear I saw a picture of him and he was just like he had the Marshawn Lynch build to where there was fat on his body, which is fine for a running back, especially a guy who takes a lot of hits. Mm-hmm. But bro, at his pro day, he looked like he was on steroids. This guy was
booty.
Yeah. No, you should see a video of him running.
Really?
Bro, he looks like a robot.
Bro, he's huge.
Genty is so stacked. He is so jacked. I thought he was like a little bit fat at his pro day. This guy's cut. And when you see him run, like he
Look
literally
at his legs.
Yeah, bro, he was literally bro, look at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got the weirdest build ever. He's got like a very short build and his like belly sticks out just a tiny bit, but it's abs and like he runs like a flippin' robot. Yeah, bro, look at that shit.
Yeah. He looks like a linebacker.
When did he gain 50 pounds?
He looks like a linebacker.
That shit is insane. His pro day, so impressive. And what I was talking about with the other guys at the combine about how I like fast feet. I like people that don't hesitate on their first step. He's running through these drills, and it's just like it's the quickest I've seen. Like I thought Quinshon Judkins was explosive. Like this guy makes being explosive look easy.
Bro.
Bro, he looked so jacked. It was crazy.
That's crazy.
I would say by far that was like out of watching everyone's pro day, Cam had a great pro day, but Genty just like with his shirt off, just going through running back drills. It was a quick pro day too, but like very impressive.
Yeah, his pads hide it well.
Yeah, his pads hide it well. I thought he had the Marshawn Lynch build because like his arms, like when he's playing, like his arms don't look like that.
No, no. That's a great comp. Have I just not heard it, or why have we not talked about the comp of Genty to Marshawn Lynch?
Because Marshawn's more of an aggressive runner. Like Marshawn is a pure,
But like contact balance.
yes, but Marshawn's like a pure like.
I'm gonna run through your face.
Yeah, I'm gonna truck you. But yeah, I think Genty's contact balance looks more like Alvin Kamara's.
Yeah.
It's more of like him going through a hole, getting hit, and he's like bouncing. He like bounces out, bounces off. Like when Marshawn's running, it's like he'll just like take the hit and like keep moving basically.
Yeah. I think that's another lock in the top 10 there. That he seems to be going. I think that makes a ton of sense for him to go there. Especially they signed Gino.
Yeah. That's gonna be a crazy squad.
Yeah. Ash, Genty, Gino, and
They got a wide receiver, didn't they?
no, not to my knowledge.
I thought they signed more than just Gino. Well, I guess Jacoby Myers is still there. He's a great wide receiver. Brock Bowers.
Yeah. They got Raheem Morris.
Like the Raiders last year, for whatever reason, I thought the Raiders were going to be really good.
Yeah, I don't know.
They shit the
Apparently
bed. But
everybody did because they had us as the worst roster in the league. So.
yeah, bro. Raiders are looking.
Yeah, they did not sign
dangerous.
They did not sign a wide receiver.
Yeah, especially if they get Genty, that offense is going to be a problem.
Yeah, it'll be a question of can they fight their way out of a paper bag on defense though.
True. But they have Pete Carroll.
Yeah,
Pete Carroll and his defense.
I mean depending on how Cleveland turns out this year, that division, AFC West, is probably the toughest division in football.
yeah.
Because your guys' division, the Baltimore division now, is kind of just a two-man show.
Yeah. Well, now we don't even know because like the Steelers are always
Right.
in it, but they're never in the playoffs.
Like no one, they're not.
Yeah,
So
but
it's like
they'll take games away from everybody, and it's a hard-fought
Right.
battle to beat them in the regular season. But
right. So it's like but when you look at that division, Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders.
yeah,
And you're looking at Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Andy Reid.
that's a stacked coaching staff. Not staff, but you know
Yeah.
what? That's a stacked coaching
If you had to
lineup.
build a coaching staff, like if there was an all-star team that was built from each division, though,
Yeah.
that would be the best coach team.
Yeah, they would take it all from that division.
Yeah. If it was like AFC had to build it, yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, too, because you have 3 teams that were in the playoffs, right? 'Cause Chargers made it.
Yeah.
Denver made it. So you already have 3 that were in the playoffs from that division. And now you're adding what I believe is a stacked roster in the Raiders.
I don't know how to feel about it because, looking at that division, people are kind of going one of two ways. Either people are like, Broncos are scary, don't count them out this year, they might win that division. And then there's the people that are like, they're terrible. The Chargers are winning the division, the Chiefs will be 2. The Raiders are better and the Broncos are still bad. It was a fluke. And then there's the people that are like, I don't know. I think the Broncos may not they may not win the division, but they're probably going to be second.
Well, again, even though you guys played above what was expected, Your guys' roster, well, I guess you guys picked up some people.
Yeah.
But your roster going into last year was not great. And I still don't think your guys' offense has that many weapons on it.
Well, that's the thing is like exactly though. That's the thing is everyone was like, well, there's no, I don't know. To me, it's just like, okay. Well,
Like, I could see why people think it's a fluke.
Well, that's not the fluke thing. I think it's interesting because there are the people that are like their roster still sucks. They just overachieved, and then there's people that are like, well, we found out that their roster's actually pretty good.
Their defense
Yeah.
is what shocked, and then your guys' defense has gotten even better.
Right. So it's like some people are like, well, I mean, I look around and they don't have that many holes. If they just get weapons, then like they're solid.
Yeah.
I obviously fall in that camp. Like I think our defense is going to be solid. It might be a slow start, but
Defense wins championships.
But like, Bo is only going to get better.
The problem is like who you guys draft, and like if you guys actually get a position of need, or if you guys try and get Tez Johnson.
Well, that's not going to be first round.
Yeah, it won't be first round.
But I mean, look, we picked up Evan Ingram, who's a receiving tight end, and allegedly is what people think is going to be the Joker. So I think honestly, there's probably like I want to see a receiver at this point. Like running back, I think because Gentry's already going to be off the board, we'll get a guy in the second or third.
Yeah, it's such a deep running back class. You guys,
Like, I don't really care who we get. I think there's a ton of running backs here that are going to be good. I want to see a receiver come off the board for us. And who that is, I don't know.
McMillan never ran a 40. We don't know how fast he is.
Yeah, but he's like consensus number one
Yeah.
in the receivers. Let's see prospects. I honestly like. It might be an overdraft, but I love Matthew Golden. I love him.
Yeah.
I want him on our team so bad. I think he's great.
Is that because you're in the same division as the Chiefs and you guys saw what can be obtained with a super fast guy?
No, I just love what I saw from him. Like the games that we did watch of Texas, I loved him in game and I loved his combine.
Yeah.
Especially his in game stuff. Like he was the other guy Bond who chatted shit about at the draft combine. Also was supposed to be the guy, I guess. But he like anytime I watch Texas, Matthew Golden's a guy who's catching the big balls. And I don't know if that was like
The big balls.
I don't know if that was just Quinn's bias. Like in those moments, he looked for him. But to me, that says
chemistry.
something. So yeah, I don't know if that. But so I just think he's got that dog, and he is fast as hell. There's no denying that. I think he's fast as hell. Right now, the receivers go as follows: McMillan, Burden, Abuka, Golden, and then Trey Harris.
Oh, you guys might take Burden.
But it just depends. Right now, he's ranked overall 13, but he's wide receiver 2. But that's when I look at the landscape of the draft, it goes because after Raiders you get Jets, so that's hopefully O-line. Panthers should take an edge rusher. I guess they could, because I don't know most of these teams aren't going to take receivers actually. Saints, they're going to probably
Saints
take
just got Brandon Cook.
so they're probably going to take a corner or an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Bears don't need a receiver.
No, they don't. What do you think they're going to do?
They
Running
should
back?
O-line.
O-line.
Yeah. With how much they've done, I bet it's... Well, actually, they've addressed O-line. It's probably an edge rusher.
Yeah, they picked up a couple of guys in the free agency.
Yeah, they fixed their O-line. We talked about that. I honestly think it's probably edge rusher then. The Niners are always liable to take a guess one. The Cowboys are next. Then the Dolphins, they don't need one. Colts want a tight end. Atlanta wants... Yeah, honestly, actually, McMillan might fall, like, out of the sky.
Yeah, there's not a lot of teams that need wide receivers right now.
Not in the top 10. Like, you get all the way down to the first guys I look at that I say they could take a wide receiver is us.
Yeah.
Like, outside of the top 5, it is us is the next team that I look at and go, yeah, you could probably take a receiver. Maybe the Raiders. Like, if they don't take Genty, maybe they take a receiver.
Yeah.
But after that, it really is us as the next team that comes up where it's like you can draft from a position of just like what you want, which is just a weapon. So maybe Burden falls that far, but I really like Golden. I think Burden was a little bit slow if I remember right, but
yeah, and he had a better season I think 2 years ago than this season,
yeah,
and nobody really knows why because it was with the same QB. So there is
and he's with
questions there.
Missouri, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I don't know, and I just like Matthew.
Do you think that it kind of hurt the Bengals going on that legendary run to almost make the playoffs, but they never did make the playoffs?
No.
And then now they're down in that spot?
No.
You don't think so? Because I guess if you think about it, they would probably be like 7, but like what's really there?
What's the difference between 7 and 17?
Yeah, like
In
what's
this draft.
Yeah,
In this
what's
draft
there
specifically.
that they need?
What's different? Like their number one need is an edge rusher, and like I guess Abdul Carter, but
Yeah, maybe they could have traded up.
like how? But I just don't see.
But
that.
they have Trey. I guess they don't want to re-sign Trey. I guess that's the rumors going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, but honestly, in this class, it's like this class specifically. You kind of look at it and you just go, well, we don't need a quarterback. We are signing our receivers.
Let's go.
So, let's go, Sauce.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, so I don't think it really hurt them. I don't know what
What do you think they would take, an O-lineman?
their biggest need, I guess, is edge rusher and then safety, which
Safety?
they just need help in the back.
Yeah, but like for a
You just
first
need a-
round, you're gonna take a safety first round. I guess
If it were
I guess we
me, I would be drafting an offensive lineman. Like
Yeah.
that's their fourth need, which I think is crazy. But
should.
like
That is crazy.
like protect Joe Burrow.
I think it's because it's like we saw so much production when they have a shit O-line. They're like, you don't really need it. Yeah, you do. You kind of do.
I think it should be a rule. If you have a quarterback that's signed to a deal longer than 4 years, you have to take an offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, bro.
protect your franchise.
I don't know
quarterback.
how many like if Joe gets injured again, I don't know like how he's gonna be able to come back. Like the wrist was a huge concern because it was like that was his throwing wrist. It got injured from playing football, from contact, because he got hit so much.
Yeah, I don't know. The Bengals are just a dumpster fire, but they're the scariest team in the world when Joe's hot.
Yeah,
Like they might be I might fear
and
them.
I kind of hate that.
I don't know of it. I can't think of a team that I fear more with Joe Burrow piss Joe Burrow.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if there's another team that I'm like, oh gosh, like.
But it kind of sucks because at the same time, it feels like they're not doing enough because they have Joe Burrow, and they're just like, Joe will win the game. Joe will win the game.
Yeah.
We don't really need anything else.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of sucks about it. But, I mean, do whatever you want to do. I mean,
I would be very interested to see what teams would be. I'm sure every team would be willing to pay Joe Burrow, but post Bengals, when he finally has had enough, or whenever he decides to not re-sign, if that ever happens.
yeah, he could go on a Matthew Stafford arc and go win a Super Bowl with a
Right.
different team.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, man, I wonder where, like, what will transpire in the next basically 5 to 8 years to where he could go.
Please tackle him. No, please. Holy shit. That would have lost me the game.
Yeah, that would have been tough. We would have dropped. How has Quinn not gotten his X Factor yet?
X Factor? I think he's still hidden, is he not?
Or yeah, I mean, like, how has his hidden not, like, figured itself out
I
yet?
know, we could check after this game. Just wrapped up.
Anyways, do you have anything about March Madness?
This would be all you. We watched the first week, but then after that, I mean, I don't know. I haven't, like I said before this, I didn't even know they played the second week. I didn't know they played the Elite Eight. I
Yeah.
heard nothing about it.
Oh, right now. So we're in the Final Four, and it's all 1 seeds. I was right.
Damn.
So I think that's kind of why everyone's, like, not talking about it, because the madness, there is no madness.
There's no madness
There's-
to this March.
Yeah, there is no madness to this March. It all ended. It's right now Auburn, Florida, Duke, Houston. All the 1 seeds out of each division.
So he's got 100 more downs to play.
Okay.
Yeah, which kind of sucks because it really is like, all right, basketball's falling. The biggest story is Stephen A. and LeBron James are going to have a fist fight. And then it was like, okay, March Madness is back. Let's go.
Yeah, it
And
was
then
supposed to be the thing that, like, got us through March till we got to the draft.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like the thing that got us through March, and then April we get a little bit of draft nonsense, and like we start gearing up for the NBA playoffs. Then we get the draft, then we have NBA playoffs, and then we're back to football. It's like, okay, whew.
Yeah.
And then it was just like Which we'll see how
There's no
good this Final
stories.
Four is. It's supposed to be, I guess, on the 5th. So the end of next week is when.
Yeah, I guess we'll
Final
watch it,
Four is?
but it's like, at the same time, it's kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
You know, like, remember when Gonzaga went to the flipping,
Yeah.
to the final one, and didn't they win?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I've heard a lot of people saying it's because of the NIL. Yeah, why did I forget the NIL? But I've heard a lot of people say that it's because of the NIL. So all of these great teams that are willing to spend more money just get stacked. And I mean, based off this small sample size, I mean, it seems to be true.
I mean, Duke's always here. Houston has been Houston's been good, but it's been the last couple years, even before NIL, that they've come onto the scene. Auburn, I guess, is like, I don't know the story with Auburn or Florida. I love that Joe is bleach blonde, no matter how far you go.
Yeah, he's always bleached blonde.
In this, just because they had him bleach blonde in the game to start the year. He's like 46 in the sun, and he's just like bleach blonde still. That's hilarious to me. Anyways, yeah, we got Florida versus Auburn, Duke versus Houston. I'm going Duke, Florida.
You're going Duke, Florida?
Duke, Florida.
Yeah, I'm going to go okay, say it again. Who's playing who? Auburn,
Duke,
Florida,
Houston.
and then Duke, Houston. Okay.
Duke, Houston, Auburn, Florida.
I was about to say Duke, Houston. I'm glad that I asked.
Yeah.
Off of zero ball knowledge, I did watch Florida play. I did really like Florida.
I have that guy that looks like Anthony Richardson. I guess
Yeah.
every Anthony Richardson lookalike just goes to Florida.
Yeah, just off of pure specimens.
Yeah. And Florida boys.
Yeah, I think everybody has Duke going. So I'm going to have Duke going, and then I'll just be different. I'll go Auburn. Just go Auburn. Hell yeah, Brees. Get up in there.
I like Houston. I have Houston picked in a couple different brackets, but Duke just looks too good. Like, I mean, just Cooper Flagg's just...
Have they had a close game yet in this tournament?
Duke?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They blew out, to put in perspective, Alabama, who blew out BYU 113 to 88, in which player broke the Alabama single game tournament record for threes in a game. They broke the team record for threes in a game. Then they went out and played Duke and put up 65.
Hell yeah.
And they got beat by 20. So they just put that in perspective. How
Duke's
good they
just
are.
got defense like that?
Yeah, bro. They beat Arizona. They put up 100 on Arizona. And then they beat Baylor by 33. And then they beat...
Let's go!
Who else? They beat Mount St. Mary's 93 to 49. So, like, they've just blown out every team they've played.
Yeah, so they're going to win, basically.
I think so. Houston, it's just the firepower. I just don't...
It's a great time to be named Matthew.
Yeah. I just don't know if there's enough firepower that they have to get that
The
done.
white boys keep going. The white boy summer keeps going. It's not even summer yet.
They're shooting almost 50% from the field.
Damn.
Yeah.
So with the NBA, it's a lottery pick, correct?
Yes.
So we can't say Cooper Flagg's going here because we don't know where he's going.
Technically, no, but you go by, like, best... Like, you can look at the odds. So right now, the Jazz have the best odds, tied with Washington, the best odds to get the number one pick.
That's good for you, right?
Yeah, it's great for me.
Love that shit.
I've been watching Duke literally just to find out what Cooper Flag is, because I refuse to watch college sports in the regular season.
Yeah, I've only seen very little of Cooper Flag, but he just seems to make buckets when it's needed.
He's just ready to go. I think what's hilarious is, I think with college basketball, I just realized this as I said that I refuse to watch regular season college sports, and it's just basketball specifically because I love going into March and just filling my bracket out with balls every year. I love just ballsing my bracket every single year and having no idea what anything is in college basketball and just being like, I'm just going off of my nuts and going off of what I know about these schools in the past.
Did you hear the news, though? No perfect brackets left.
Yeah.
Did you hear the news?
So, C. Diddle, the super spaghetti wetter,
Spaghetti wetter.
that's what she said to me. We were on the phone yesterday, and she was like, did you know there's never been a perfect bracket before?
That's not true. I thought a kid had one.
No. There's
thought-
never been a perfect bracket.
Oh, maybe it was a perfect wrong bracket.
What?
They got every single one wrong.
Well, all you have to do is get the round of 64 wrong. That's not hard to do. But there's never been a recorded perfect bracket.
I thought a little kid had one.
There's one flawless bracket left. No, it ended actually just now. But there's never been one.
Shit.
Yeah, there's never one. So she's like, did you know there's never been a perfect bracket? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, what? How did you know that? And I was like, do you understand how low of a mathematical chance it is to get that right?
But so many people do it every single year. You'd think that somebody got it sometime.
I know, but
people win the lottery, you know?
But I know, but you're supposed to win that.
Yeah.
There's a point there, like you're supposed to like. There's somebody out there who has a winning ticket. There's 60.
We should do the calculations on like
How many possibilities are?
how many possibilities there are.
I literally don't know because think about it. You start with 64 teams. Oh. You start with 64 teams.
Uh-huh.
And then think about just in the first round, think about how many possibilities there are.
There's 30. No, it'd be double.
No, way more than that.
But oh yeah, because yeah.
Because when one team wins, then you have to go through every possibility of what every other team game is. So when you do it mathematically and then you use a sample size, because it would be one thing if the rosters didn't change, right? But it's college sports. And so guys are coming in, they're graduating, they're going to the league, all that stuff. There's always this motion to where it's the probability is so low that for you to get a perfect bracket that like I was honestly surprised that she thought that there was one.
I'm kind of on her side.
Really?
Because if you think about how long has March Madness been going on, you have all these people constantly making brackets for like more than 10 years, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be over that limit of possibilities. There's been more brackets made, right?
Because think about it. There were people out before the interweb, people were filling out it by hand.
Yeah.
And you have to turn that bracket in. Yeah. So I'm sure maybe there's somebody out there who like claims they had a perfect bracket. But
could you search up the probability of getting a perfect bracket?
I can try and find it, but the first March Madness tournament consisted of 68 teams and was conducted in 1939.
Yeah, 1939. People have been filling out brackets for that long.
Well, I don't know, but potentially.
Like, how many years?
What are the odds of getting pregnant? That's the number one search. If you stop it, what are the odds of getting? The next thing is pregnant from pre-cum, struck by lightning, cancer. A perfect bracket is the next one.
I have searched
after all of those.
I have searched up what are the odds of getting pregnant by pre-cum.
You have?
Yeah, I contribute to that statistic.
Okay, 1 in 9.2 quintillion.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's the odds.
That's the odds of you getting a perfect bracket.
Okay, so I was way off. There's not been. So how many years of people turning in brackets would have to happen before you're at that odd?
I don't know. Okay, they said 1 in 9.2 quintillion, or 1 in 120.2 billion if the person has general basketball knowledge. Damn. But that's still 120 billion.
Yeah, there's
to
no.
1.
Yeah, we haven't filled out that many brackets.
No.
God damn. So in like what 500 years we'll get one, like based on the math.
It is math. Yeah. Eventually, it's gotta happen.
When is some...
But here's the great equalizer. Here's the asterisk because it may never happen. Not every bracket is recorded. There's probably, I bet you, there's people out there who have filled them out and thrown them away, or they filled out the bracket right, and then it didn't save on their phone or on their computer or whatever, and they came back and had to refill it out, and they made one change because of whatever they heard.
When is Gronk gonna get involved? That's Twitter's AI, right? Twitter's AI is
Grok.
Yeah, when is Grok gonna get involved and start just mass producing flipping brackets?
Oh, well, I mean, with the capacity that we've got, see, that's the problem. That's what's gonna make it not fun anymore. Because
AI's gonna pull like 100 billion out of their ass.
Because eventually someone's just gonna go, well, why don't I just have AI run through every possibility? But then but that won't really count because it's like you didn't do it.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun. is that a human being filled out the bracket and you put your balls on the line.
Yeah, you got to use your balls to get the baby. You know, you can't have Grok wife. You know what I'm saying? You got to do it yourself.
DIY, how to make a child.
Yeah, DIY. Let me ask Grok how to make a child. Damn, that is crazy. I did not think it was going to be in the quintillion.
Well, when you start doing the math, just in the first round of how many possibilities there are, that you start to realize, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Oh, I saw this on the internet. This is old. This is a super old post. When I say super old, I mean like 2 weeks old or like a month old.
Okay.
But super old. I saw multiple posts saying that if you pay Jamar Chase and T. Higgins that amount of money that you paid, it means that Joe Burrow is overrated. I saw multiple people spewing that garbage.
That's wild to me. That just sounds like non-ball having knowledge.
Yeah.
Personally, to me.
We're turning into those guys. It sounds like non-ball having knowledge to me.
That just sounds dumb. Like, it just sounds like you're mad.
Yeah, it's to me, it feels like a take from somebody who hasn't watched Joe Burrow play ball, especially in the latter half of this season. You watch him flip and play, like, I don't know how you can say he's underrated.
That just sounds
Remember we got drunk and we just threw on Joe Burrow highlights? And we thought they were all time. They were just this season.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought... that to me sounds like some kid on the internet who's mad because his favorite team is the Chiefs. And
yeah, it's got to be a Chiefs fan.
And he's like... And, like, no one's talking about Patrick. And so he's like...
Yeah, it's got to be that.
Patrick is the best. Stop talking about Joe Burrow.
Now, do I think it's a smart decision for if you're trying to win Super Bowls to pay 3 guys that much money? No. But does that mean Joe's overrated?
But wait.
No.
But I mean, wait. You paid Aaron Donald that much, Cooper Kupp, and Matt Stafford, and you the picks.
That's different, though, because one of them was on the defensive side.
Yeah, but allegedly they're going to pay Trey Hendrickson.
I don't know how. I don't know where they're pulling that money from.
You just trade everyone else so that we have enough draft picks to restock.
You just blow up the entire... Well, I guess the rest of the team does kind of suck. I mean, we saw it this year, so it's not a bad play to just trade everyone else to pay Trey Hendrick. Yeah, I can see it.
Like, just give me picks. I'll give you all my players so we can just draft a new team and then pay these 4 guys.
I could see it.
I don't know. That just seems like someone is trying to get clicks.
Rage bait.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we posted the video of us, like, saying Joe's awesome. Joe's amazing. Great quarterback. So much hate. So much hate for our Lord and Savior. So much hate for the man, the myth, the legend, Joseph Burrow. But I don't get the disrespect. I guess it's just winning is everything. And
he is arguably the most important winner. Like, when it comes to winning, he is kind of the definition of it this year.
Yeah, he did. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, it's people that did not watch him play this year.
Like, do you know what ERA is in baseball?
No.
Okay, it's a stat for pitchers that basically tells you how, like, good they are at keeping not allowing runs, basically. That's like, and to put it in perspective, you want a good ERA is like 3, under 3.
Yeah.
That's like being like, which essentially means you're pitching for a starting pitcher. Generally, if you have a good starting pitcher, they're pitching for 5 to 6 innings. So 2/3 of the game, right? And if you're only letting up 3 runs, that's good over 6 innings. That's basically 0.5 per inning.
Yeah.
Right? That's like being like a guy who has a 2 or a 1.5 ERA. Like, yeah, you know, it's like the Dodgers. It's like their bullpen, bro. Like, their bullpen's literally so good. It's like being like Yamamoto is their best pitcher. It's like, yeah, Yamamoto's overrated because they bought a bunch of the other bullpen. Like, but he's got an ERA under 3, and he's in it. I don't know. I don't know how to, like, explain it to an idiot. I don't know. That's just dumb. Like, I don't know where you get that
Stop
from.
disrespecting the king, the prince.
I have no other way to, like, put that in perspective. It's like, yeah, LeBron's a bad scorer. He also is but he's also the number 1. That's the same argument, actually, in my head. is like LeBron's not a good scorer. He is the all-time leading scorer, actually. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't get it. Because
Or-
we give Jalen Hurts a bunch of crap for having a great team. I mean, if you throw the wide receivers out and look at the rest of that team, I mean, I know Chase Brown rushed for over 1,000, but only almost 1,000. Rushed for almost 1,000. But I mean, you take a look at that team. That team is not good. It was a lot of just Joe being Joe.
Also,
Critical moment Joe.
other than like I know we opened the show talking about Stefon Diggs and like him being an overpay, and like I'm gonna kind of spin back on my word a little bit, but like why do we care if they're productive? Why do like all of a sudden we think that like we're GMs?
Yeah.
Like we're guys. And like if they are the most productive players on the football team, thus they make the most. Welcome to a capitalist America. Grow up, you liberal. Like I don't know what you want. Like they're the 3 most productive humans on the football field. They get paid the most.
Yeah.
Sorry about it.
They were the one, quite literally, probably the one exception to the rule of successful teams running the ball this year. There's so many stats saying that if you ran it so many times, you were successful.
Yeah.
You were in the playoffs.
And by the way,
they were the one team that was like, we're going to throw it more than anybody else, and we're going to do it well.
Yeah, and like I think it's also just hilarious the fact that they're like that he's overrated, that they're paying them. Jamar Chase literally won the Triple Crown this year, and guess what position he plays? Wide receiver. Do you know how the wide receiver gets the ball?
But a quarterback.
Oh, shit.
That's what I was talking about
Yeah.
with I think
Yeah.
running backs are more important because you have to have a Joe Burrow to be able to use a Jamar Chase.
Yeah, and the only asterisk is Joe Burrow. That a running back's more important than a wide receiver.
Unless you have Joe Burrow.
Right, exactly. So it's like,
Sauce!
So, yeah, that's just cry me a river, dude. I don't know who put that out there, but cry me a river. That's just, you're just making shit up for clicks.
Yeah, that shit was wild when I saw it.
Yeah, I don't even know how to, I don't understand the angle at which he's coming from. Like, there had to have been a lead-up conversation.
Well, it's based on it's always the same conversation. It's like, when's the last time you won a divisional... When's the last time you won a Super Bowl? Like, when's the last time you've done something in the playoffs? It's always that conversation.
I get it in almost every sport but football. I get that conversation. Now, if we're talking about GOATs, yes, the championships matter and they matter to me. But when we're talking about just like modern day, like who's better than who, football is one of the sports where if you don't have that long of a career, and there's only one team who wins the Super Bowl every year. And you can be one of the best and most scary football players, teams, whatever, of your era and never win a Super Bowl and not have a chance to then win one in the next era.
Yeah.
Whereas basketball and almost every other sport, you're playing for... I mean, LeBron's arguably in his 3rd prime, and he's been playing for longer than I've been alive. Or as long as I've been alive, basically.
Yeah.
Almost. 2 years removed. So it's like he's been through 2 decades, 3 different eras of the NBA. It's like every sport but football, I'm like, okay, I get where you're coming from. At the same time, that guy's insanely scary.
Here's a question. What quarterback would have a better record on the Bengals with that roster last year? Is there a quarterback that would be able to have a better record? Because for me, as I'm looking at it right now with how terrible that defense and that O-line was and how they only really got the running game going once Chase Brown took over, I don't think there is a quarterback that would have had more wins on that Bengals team besides Joe Burrow. Like maybe Josh Allen? I don't think...
If we're taking like the history and the personality out of it, I think there might be some guys, but I think Joe is uniquely qualified in the fact that he knows shit that man, like what he's dealing with in terms of like the ownership. But I think maybe Josh.
Josh Allen?
Yeah.
No Lamar, no Patrick.
I don't think Lamar has the...
Lamar kind of dealt with that. His defense really wasn't that good till the end of the year.
But Lamar's...
They also had Derrick Henry.
Yeah. And he's not a... He is a good pocket quarterback, but he is not a pick you apart
He's not
beat you with your
like
weaknesses.
like we saw with their red zone package. It's a very one-dimensional red zone package. They try and get Lamar drifting to one side of the field, and they have a guy come out or he runs it in.
Right.
So,
or just hand it to in the backfield. So I don't think Lamar. I think Pat honestly had a pretty ass year. The more you look at it,
statistically, he did. That's what everybody was kind of on that.
The more you look at it, and just like that fire, I don't know. I don't think that.
Just Josh Allen.
I'm going through the rest of them in my head here. Certainly not Trevor, not Tua, Dak, no, Geno, no,
Bryce Young,
no. In a weird way, yeah, no. Brock, no.
I think there is very few quarterbacks that could have had that record with that squad. And I think
the only reason I put Josh into that is because we saw what the Bills' defense was against the Rams, and I think he did overcome a lot of fuck shit on his defense that we didn't talk about because they were blowing teams out all year.
Yeah, the Bills, yeah.
So I think because Josh was so good, we didn't talk about how bad the Bills' defense kind of was. So I would say Josh, so that's it.
I would say Josh.
This year.
I could see Mahomes. I could. Just because.
Sure.
Everybody was saying that his O-line wasn't great this year. Who knows how true that was. But I could see Mahomes just because it's Patrick Mahomes. Kind of like putting Tom Brady in there. You just got to put him in there.
Yeah. But I don't know. We haven't seen, and it's obviously a product of his lack of receivers. But I can't remember the last time outside of literally the Super Bowl. But throughout the year, I cannot think of a Patrick Mahomes throw the deep ball.
Yeah, he didn't throw it that much. He didn't throw the deep ball that much.
I don't know. Yeah.
You also have to think how much Andy Reid affects their production.
For sure.
And when you don't have an Andy Reid dialing it up.
Yeah. I mean, Zach McPherson or not Zach McPherson, that's the kicker. Gosh, I can't remember his name, but their coach, he is uniquely equipped to just do what Joe's good at.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. I think there's very few guys that could do what he did.
I agree with you. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people commenting who think that
and
Geno Smith would have had a better record.
Yeah, I don't know. They can eat my ass. Shador Sanders is better.
Shador Sanders is the best.
I saw him on Bradley Martin's YouTube today. I saw a short, and he was talking about when Bradley smacked that kid. And I was like, that's such a wild thing to bring up in your first time meeting somebody.
What's wilder is Bradley Martin smacking a kid.
I think it was warranted. I saw the video because it played right before Shador was talking about it. I was like, yeah, I would have smacked that kid too. Me personally, as the person I am, I would have smacked that kid too.
Yeah, if you were balding and someone stole your hat.
Well, but he asks for it, hey, give me my hat back. And then he's like, I'm pretty sure the second time he's like, please give me my hat back. And then the kid does the little I'm a 5-year-old thing.
We're not going to deep dive the video of Bradley Martin slapping Stable Ronaldo.
I think he deserved it.
What were you saying about?
No, it just goes back to we were talking about PR messes. I just was like, I know that the draft is done, or I know that the combine's done. You had your pro day and everything.
He had? I don't think he's done his pro day
or
yet.
Maybe he hasn't. But even that builds my case even more. What are you doing in LA with Bradley Martin? Workout, dude. Go get ready to play in the NFL. I just hate that shit. You a month leading up, and you're just like, I'm gonna go do
Maybe he's working out in LA, bro.
I mean, he was at his gym, but you're
not his. He probably just went on stream because that's the cool thing to do. But what if he's with a trainer in LA, getting ready?
Yes, I don't know. To me, it's just I don't know. Go get ready for the NFL. Lock in, please. Just go lock in.
Quinn needs lock in.
Yeah, he does too.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate.
Bro,
I'm so
it's been
glad.
5 podcasts in a row. We get to the end of it, and it's Shador Sanders. I hate this guy. This guy sucks.
I'm really glad that I never. Well, it's clear as to why I could never be a. I could have never been a Cowboy fan or these teams that have quarterbacks that are stars outside of football. And they like want to be movie guys and like commercials and shit. Like I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
Because if my team was going through a rough patch and I have to see my quarterback in commercials and he just threw a pick, you know what I'm saying? Like if he just blew the game for me and I just watched him blow the game and throw a pick, and then the next ad that comes on is him in like an insurance commercial.
Why you wouldn't be if you were like a GM, maybe you'd be watching it.
What?
You'd be watching the commercials, but if you're the coach, you're on the field.
No, me as a fan.
Oh.
I'm talking about me as a fan. I'm glad that I'm not a fan of a team that like has ever had a quarterback that was like a larger than football star.
Just wait. You guys win the Super Bowl, it's going to be the Seahawks 2.0. Bo is going to be everything. Jaquan McMillan's going to be in commercials.
I'll hate it. I'll hate it, bro. I will hate it so much.
Yeah, bro. That's coming. If you guys ever win the Super Bowl, that's going to be you guys.
I don't know. Bo doesn't come off that way, but he also does give a little bit of the Russell Wilson. But I don't know. He just seems like a professional, and he's a coach's son, so I don't know. Anyways, for me, I could not deal with that as a fan. Watching like having my quarterback show up on like TV and shit. It would just drive me nuts. I'd be like, you had the time to go do an interview on the Tonight Show, and you threw picks last week? What's wrong with you? Like, it would drive me insane.
Here's a question, though. Who has the best commercial? For me, discount, double check, Aaron Rodgers. That's the best commercial.
Yeah, that's up there for sure.
Yeah, who would you say has
Although
the best commercial?
it is a flex, the recent sports Dick's commercial where Tom's on that goat.
Yeah, that is
a flex. That's sick.
A flex.
But it's not as memorable, for sure.
But he's not in the league.
But my favorite one, my personal favorite one, is Baker living in the
That
the
was a
stadium.
good one, yeah.
I love that.
What was funny is that like a week later he got traded.
Yes.
Yeah, bro. But that was such a good
But
commercial.
him waking up in there and he's in like his bathrobe and he's getting coffee at the concession stand.
That was a
That's
great
elite.
commercial.
Those were sick. I love those commercials.
It wasn't a commercial. It was just a promo. But it was a spoof of Parks and Rec with Josh Allen sleeping in the pit for their new stadium.
Really?
Have you seen that? Oh, it's a spoof off of Parks and Rec. They like just redid the bit with Josh Allen sleeping in like the construction pit. That was one of my favorite ones. But it wasn't a commercial. It was just like a promo.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was for their schedule, the release of their schedule last year.
Oh, really? Yeah. So yeah, I couldn't deal with it as a fan. It would drive me insane, and that's why I'm so glad that Bo is just like a pro already. Like he's a coach's son, like through and through.
Just wait.
Through and through. So yeah, this like even I don't know.
It's coming.
I hope not. I guess I guess part of the reason why I hated Russ so much was that because he wanted to be like.
Yeah, he was in Subway commercials, wasn't he?
Yeah, the Danger Witch and his wife is like a superstar or whatever. So, yeah, I think that was part of why I hated him so much because I just am like, ugh. You know what I was thinking about? This is a funny thing since we're talking about quarterbacks and like notoriety. There's something special about the fact that Alabama quarterbacks are like either they're Alabama kids or kids from like the South. They're never like the hot prospect from LA. They're just like a guy from Alabama or like a guy from the South. That's like a 3 or 4 star prospect that goes to Bama, and he has the littest career ever. Like especially in like when we were growing up, and then he just doesn't get drafted or sucks in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's something special like about
Something
the run
sweet about it.
There's we need to study the run of quarterbacks that were elite at Bama and didn't do anything else with their football career.
Well, it's like we said before. It's like playing on rookie mode.
Yeah. For sure.
Compared to all
no,
Madden.
100%. But it's just like I love it. Like I was watching this guy in like must have been like 2013 or 2012, and he's talking about like I grew up and he's like a kid from Alabama. Like he just grew up in Alabama, went to the University of Alabama, played football, and then did nothing else. Like is probably an insurance agent or something now, you know. And I was just like, that is sick. Like, if I don't get to play in the NFL, but I get to know that I played for Alabama and won natties under Nick Saban and, like, was a part of, like, football history,
Yeah.
I would take it. Like, if you
There is something really cool about being a legend at a college program.
a college program, especially when you grew up in the state.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just, like...
Like, Jack Sawyer grew up in Ohio. Like, was an Ohio State fan, went to Ohio.
Well, Joe is pretty much like he ended up going to LSU, but if he would have played Ohio State, obviously we don't know if he would be what he is, but like he grew up in Ohio, went to Ohio State, then he went to LSU. Now he's been drafted to the Bengals.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with LeBron. He didn't go to college, but he says he would have went to Ohio State.
If you're gonna be a diehard college fan, you're a fan of the college.
Yeah, yeah.
And the people that go there, you have to go there for college.
Yeah, I'm not diehard for Georgia, but yeah, it would be really weird if I was a diehard Georgia fan.
Yeah, and you never went. You didn't grow up in Georgia. Or you never went to Georgia.
It makes
is
total
weird.
sense if I'm like diehard for the Vandals.
Yeah, because it's your state's like school.
Yeah.
Like if you grew up in.
Even if like here, like I rooted for a team here, which I guess like when it came to like when I was big into lacrosse, DU up in Denver, the Pios, I loved them. I never went there, but like I have family here, so like that kind of makes.
What's that?
I guess it's kind of the same thing though. Like people that are diehard fans of like NFL teams and they don't live anywhere near them. Like, how'd you become a fan?
No,
of
but
that?
you have to be like that's different because there's only a select few.
Okay.
Of NFL teams. And like for us, we grew up in Idaho. Like, do we just have to be Seahawks fans because they're the closest?
No, that's true.
Because like at that point, it's like, oh, you can't even like football, you know?
Yeah, that's true. If you don't have a team in your state.
Yeah, and it's like California's hogging up all the teams, you know?
Yeah.
But like we could be diehard Vandals fans because we grew up there.
I don't know. It's odd. Like you're a little bit like, why?
Yeah, I think it's
but
odd.
I think it's odd, but it's kind of just like, it's more just annoying than anything, I'll say. Because you're like,
Yeah.
it's more just annoying because you're just
It's like, what are your ties?
well, and also it's annoying because college teams, college sports, if your team is good or your school is good at a sport, they're good for a really long time.
Yeah.
So it's annoying because you have to hear about them being good for like 2 decades.
Yeah.
And it's
I
like,
think
ugh.
what we're talking about does apply to the NFL, but it applies to like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like you can't be from Idaho and be like a diehard Steelers fan.
I don't know. I was as a kid.
You were diehard?
Well, yeah, no, not diehard for the Steelers. No, I was still a Broncos fan, but I was a fan of the Steelers.
Yeah, you can be a fan, but like the Steelers specifically, or like even the Patriots, but they got to a level of
I think
stardom.
it feels weird if it's like opposite side of the country. I think that's the
Yeah,
stage.
and you've never like
I think that's
been
the stage.
to the East Coast.
It's like today being a Miami Dolphins fan, and you grew up in like Cali, and you're like, why?
yeah,
like,
if you're diehard,
Like
if you're
you've
diehard.
got Chargers there, you've got it's like why Miami? They're not even good right now.
Yeah.
Like that's weird. Or if you're like a Patriots fan.
They like the jerseys or something.
Like, yeah, I think it's like if you're a Patriots fan and you're like...
But the Patriots reached a level of stardom that was like nation because they were like so dominant.
But
it's
it's
like being a LeBron James fan. Like,
no, but the Patriots, it's bandwagony.
yeah,
If you grew up in Seattle and you're... If you grew up in Seattle and you're a Patriots fan, weird. Like, or like you grow up in like Vegas and you're like, I'm a Patriots fan. Like, that's weird too.
yeah,
Or like you're a Miami fan. Like you grew up in, let me think. You grew up in...
well, I'm a Titans and a Ravens fan, and I'm from North Idaho.
Yeah, but I mean, Titans are like, they've been buns for forever, so that's just like a love of the game. And the Ravens aren't too weird because it just so happens, like, depending on when you're watching it, in our case, it's like they went to the Super Bowl when we were first getting into football.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, all right. And then after that, it was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, you watch them, they were really good, you liked a specific player, and so you're a kid, so you went with that team, and your favorite color is purple. So it's like, okay, all that checks. But then after that, it's not like, it doesn't feel weird because they didn't win the Super Bowl for 7 years.
Yeah.
It's weird when all of a sudden there's 70 billion Kansas City fans.
That is true. Or like, remember, everybody was like a Carolina fan when they went undefeated.
Oh yeah, the Panthers, and
Yeah.
now no one shows up to their games.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're just a band. We're just talking about bandwagon.
Yeah,
fans.
we literally are. Just, I hate bandwagon fans.
But it's weirder in college.
It
weirder.
is so much weirder in college.
Yes, it is weirder in
especially
college.
because they try and be a fan of that college program for so long that they're not a bandwagon. But you still are.
And they try and know everyone every year, and it's like, brother, nobody
Give it
cares.
up.
They're like, dude, our fifth string corner has really had great development this year. I'm really looking forward to his junior year. All right, nerd.
Basically,
All right, nerd.
Basically, what we're asking is it worse? These guys suck. Is it worse to be a bandwagon fan of a college football team or an NFL team? That's basically what this is. Which one's worse? I think it's worse to be a bandwagon fan of a college team, or like a college school.
I think it's just weirder. It's just so much weirder because there's nothing like until now with NIL. There's not really, and even still with NIL, there's not really stars in college. So it's just like you're just a dick rider. Like they like in the NFL, it's like, all right, I like this guy. You know, it's like, all right, I like LeBron James. Like, or for Matt, where he is a college fan and he doesn't have a basketball team, but now it's the Celtics because of Jason Tatum.
Yeah,
that's not that weird to me, but. It just seems like you're a dick rider if you're just like a college program because they probably have won like 10 years in a row.
Like Matt, you're just a huge dick rider, man.
That kind of is what it feels like. Like when Matt first told me he was a Duke fan, I was like, how original. You know
what are
I
your
mean?
ties to Duke?
Yeah,
they're
kind of,
good.
Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, how original. If he would have told me, because he's like, if he would have told me I'm a Michigan fan, die hard. My dad went to school there.
Yeah.
My family, ba 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 ba. I'm like, okay, makes sense. But when he first told me, when we were first like in middle school, and he's like, I'm a Duke fan. I'm just like, all right,
sweet man,
sick man.
You like the team that wins every year?
Exactly.
Super cool, bro.
That's how it feels. In the NFL, it feels less weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the NFL, it feels less weird because it's like whatever. College,
and there's just less.
They're just
there's
dominant
just
for longer, and so it feels worse. Because even now today, everyone's like you finally think to yourself like, oh, you know, if you're trying to get after Matt, you're like, oh, he's got his humble pie because Coach K left. Nope, they're insane again.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, oh,
nope, they got Cooper Flag.
Exactly. So it's kind of like it is a bit more. It's worse if you're a college fan because you just feel like you feel like a pleb.
Plus, there's a D1 school. I don't think I will get fact checked on this. There is a D1 school in every single state.
Probably.
So you have
in
so
some
many
sport, in some sport.
In some sport. So you have so many schools to pick from that are closer to you, or like your dad or your mom went, and you choose the best of the best out of all of those schools to pick.
It's like now, like, and even if someone was like, I'm a fan of, I don't know, like you're just like, okay, why? And they're like, the mascot's sick. I'd be like, all right.
But that,
yeah, like if someone was a fan of that school that they have the banana slug like mascot, I'd be like, all right,
that's pretty sick.
That's pretty sick. Or like the UMBC Labradors, like that's dope. Okay.
I like Labradors.
And the UMBC's ass.
But if they had a Chihuahua and they're a fan of the Labradors,
that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. You gotta have a Labrador.
My hate's rubbing off on you.
Yeah, for real.
No, but it is worse. That's a good question though. Make that in a short form. What's worse?
I think it's college.
I think it's college for sure.
Especially if you've never been, you're like, you don't have a family heritage that goes, especially like big D1 schools, and you're just like, I ride or die for this program. That's weird.
Or it's like North Carolina. Like every dad that's like a North Carolina fan because Jordan went there. Yeah. It's just kind of like, number one, I'm annoyed because you haven't checked into anything relevant pertaining to sports since the 90s. Yeah. And two, you grew up like Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like let's say you grew up in Texas and you're choosing like Maryland. Yeah. That's your school of choice.
Yeah, or like North Carolina. And it's like
North Carolina. Like you got so many in Texas.
You have University of Texas. You have the Longhorns.
Yeah.
Who are great.
You got Texas Tech with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
You got so much shit there.
And by the way,
they're just selfish.
And most likely you went to some school there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Or
I
like
don't
you
know.
could have.
Yeah, that's weird to me. I agree. That is odd. Dylan Brooks needs to be held back from referee after being ejected following tussle with Kevin Durant.
Hell yeah.
I think he should get the electric chair. All right, guys. I'm Devin. That's Zane. And this is Buffet Sports. We got through...
We're all the way into
Moses,
week 13.
You got
We
through
are 7-4,
weeks.
baby. 7-4.
Got through 7 weeks. And
Are we
Quinn
in the
is...
playoffs?
Quinn is still...
Yeah, he still has like 20 more snaps.
20 more snaps.
We are the 6th seed in the playoffs with Quinn Ewers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, to say, this is a long one. But we're back.
We're back.
Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. We love you. Ka-chow, bitches.